Rice's International Bar was bought by Samuel Rice in 1913, and it was a bar before that. And on outside you'll see the gateway, and the gateway was for horses. The people were travelling to the town and they were able to stable their horses just out the back there. So that was one of the first modes of transport to Rice's International Bar. Samuel and Emily had 6 children, the oldest being David. The next was Arthur, who inherited the bar, and he started to run the bar as well. Then there was Samuel was born, Jim, Maureen, and the late Leo. He died very young. So that was the family, and they lived above the bar, which was quite common then, not so common now. But the Rice family have always owned the bar, and they have always lived above the bar. And we have had many, many children. The next generation, of course, was Arthur and Margaret. Margaret was from Carrickmacross, and she was a nurse. And she came up here and she had the most beautiful personality. Everyone in the town loved her, and all the customers revered and loved her, very much so. And when Arthur died, she took over and she made this place an absolute joy to come into. And that's what the older customers who are still alive, and when they talk to me about Margaret, it's always Mrs. Rice. She was never anything else but Mrs. Rice. And she was so glamorous and so gorgeous and very, very, very good at what she did. Absolutely. And Arthur and Margaret had 5 children. The oldest was Tom, who of course is still living, thanks be to God, and then Eamon and Brendan, who has since died 4 years ago. Then came Geraldine and Mary, and they were again reared here. I married Brendan Rice in 1990, and we went on to have 4 lovely children.
Growing up here was amazing with my siblings and my mum and dad. I don't think I would have had it any other way. It gave me opportunity. Dad was here, he worked 90 hours a week. He did the late nights, which I'm starting to understand now. So we lived above, and it gave me the opportunity to have Dad every morning, noon and night. He was always there. If we lived elsewhere off the property, Dad wouldn't have been as part of our childhood, and I don't feel like I'd have been the person I am today or as able to do what I'm doing now. I think everything happens for a reason. So being here and growing up watching him and just watching the whole thing, as a child you're not noting it, but subconsciously it's going in there somewhere. Why was Dad sceptical about this, or why do we do it that way? I see it now sitting there, but it's from living here, growing up in it. You know, customers now will say to me when I'm serving them a drink, "Jeez, I remember trying to get you down from up there. You were 3 and climbing up there, and we were shouting." I love that. I love the fact they remember me when I was 3 and I was running around, or they would have taken me down to the shops. It's life. I wouldn't know any different. I really wouldn't.
The customers that come into us, they astound me at how supportive they are of me and Margaret. They astound me. I'm so impressed with them. And they were so supportive when my husband died. When the first day that I took over, he was buried on a Friday, and on the Saturday I opened the door, and I had never poured a glass of Guinness in my entire life. And all I did was cry all day, and the customers helped me and showed me how to do everything. And they were wonderful with me, absolutely wonderful, and still are. We don't serve food, but that does not mean to say that people don't get fed, because they do. They do. They get whatever is in my kitchen if I think somebody needs something extra, and so does Margaret. Often she'll nip up and make cheese toasties or whatever is in the fridge. It'll come down and everybody will get share of it. You know, so that's important to us, looking after our customers, because they look after us.